Very pleased to see you. I can't tell you how pleased I am. Lots of people know about Telefonica, but they don't perhaps know Onthespot. Could you say a few words about Onthespot for those that don't know?
Yes. So inside the telco operator, we are a subsidiary that is fully devoted to smart retail, technologies related with smart retails, what goes from digital signage to IoT, efficiency elements like RFID and these kind of things. And we deliver service inside Telefonica worldwide. So we have service deployed in 98 countries across the world, thanks to our customers. And we are based in Spain, but we have some subsidiaries in other countries. And obviously, we participate both in the local and global projects of Telefonica whenever it's needed to have our capabilities and our technology.
Excellent. Good. Okay. Well, you've got a presentation. I'll leave you to it. Once we've started, I'll step back into the shadows.
Yeah. Yes, 1 second. I will share it.
That's looking good.
This
That's perfect. Great. Okay, I'm off.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I was here today to speak to you about one use case that we developed together with Quividi, and that's a use case inside the travel retail. This is something that we started prior to COVID, and obviously we are catching up now after this. Obviously, during the disease, the big confinement, there was obviously a closing of stores and almost closing of airports. But we think it's very relevant for this use case to understand how the technology of Quividi is helping us to put all the elements of our ecosystem together. I wanted to first to understand how travel retail is different from any other retail. I would just highlight 3 elements. The first is that this is a very specific profile of customers that are in a very specific situation. So they are traveling, sometimes they are rushing, sometimes they are just waiting for the planes. But there's also sometimes they get into the store without a clear intention to buy. Actually, sometimes you go through the stores of travel retail. So I would say that the behavior of this customer can be pretty different from other retailers. So there's a very specific element. So probably you've gone through these kind of stores, and probably sometimes you run through it like you were doing the Olympics. It's like you rush through it. And one of the things we work with our customer was, well, first, you have to make sure, thanks to technology, that people will be interested in staying more time in your space. Because once you stay more time in the space, obviously there are more chances to spot something from the customer's perspective or to deliver some extra messages to them from the perspective of the retailer. So we built for them, based on our technology, a solution that allowed to change, that's a very specific store, change the way the store looked and to deploy campaigns where everything is integrated from the ceiling and the lighting and all the kind of screens plus the sound. So we were able, thanks, so we have in Telefonica Onthespot a platform called Spot Dyna where you can plug all the different elements of IoT and screens and lights and everything that is in the store, and you can sync all this stuff in real time to deploy experience like the one you are seeing. So in this case, obviously, people can see that things are different. Setting up a store like that, we set a lot of different elements of measurement of dwell time and other elements. But it was really interesting to know how we could optimize the value of this solution in order to make sure that we were having a return of this investment in the right way. So one of the elements that we integrated was Quividi technology, and specifically for this example that I'm putting in 3 areas. First, the welcome area, so the entrance and the screens that were presented in this area. Then one of the product zones, so inside the store, you have, I would say, that the main path where you go through the store, and you have areas, product zones. in these areas, we set up another of the screens, and then in front of the tills also there was a massive screens, and we use also Quividi technology enabling us to know how long people was looking at this screen, the age and the gender and these elements. So what is interesting here is the source of data we had to work on it. So obviously we had first the screen layout. So the store has like 60 different screens. We were measuring in 3 of them, but we had the information that we were playing in all the screens. There's almost 30 different format ratios of screens there that we manage in, as I said, in single campaigns. We had the information from there. We had then the content categories. There was like 3 blocks of elements that were presenting. There was campaigns based on the brand itself, the retailer. There was campaigns based on the brands that they are selling, perfumes, drinks, or whatever. And there was also specific campaigns with offers on specific products, and that were playing in the screens. We had also access to the sales of the different categories. So it was the categorization, and that's very important, of the sales was the same that the categorization we had in the campaigns in the screens. We had then the information coming from Quividi, from the profiles that was happening there, and also the information of travelers, and that's an important element. So when you are buying in these stores, there's some information, anonymized information that can be used based on your destination or the flights that are leaving the airport. So therefore, although it's not purely mathematical, but you have information of what is the profile of travelers. So if there's flights leaving to China or leaving to France, it's probably different kind of profile that if the flights are leaving to the States or whatever. So with all these things, 5 sources of data, the first thing we did obviously was to measure. So we had to install the technology to have all these elements. We had also Wi-Fi heat maps integrated here, and so different elements. There's information also coming from the application of the retailer. So we had all these elements to measure. Then we start relating then what happens when. So you obviously, if you advertise chocolate, as my previous colleague was saying, you can increase the sales of chocolate. But when is the best moment to advertise chocolate? Is it when people from 30 to 50 is looking at the screen? Is when people is leaving for applying in a plane to Japan? So that was the relationship. Then to understand what was happening and all these relationships, when you are gathering data with so many variables in the field, you can start getting insights that are not so obvious. When you advertise chocolate, you get more sales of chocolate. Okay, but maybe when you advertise something else in a specific element, you will be able to get some extra sales on a different product that eventually can bring you more margin, or you have more stock or whatever. With this understanding, then you can influence. But the idea was not only to influence, but also to predict these sales. So with this work, we've been able, and as I said, the work was frozen because of the COVID, but is taking out again. We are able to answer to this kind of question. How is advertising of a product obviously impacting in sales? But can I influence sales by analyzing all the data? So can I change what the customers are naturally buying by changing the mix of advertising and campaigns and categories that I'm presenting in the screen? Which campaigns and in which screen attract more attention? And that's also a very important element. Well, one of the first things we realized is that it was, well, first that people was looking much more than we expected the screens. because, as I said, we all rush through these stores, but the way the screens were set up and the layout of the store was helping people to fix the screens and getting more of the information that was put there, but also that the screens were very different in the different areas. So you were looking much more to promotions in the first screens and into the last screens than probably in the product area. And the product area, there was a different profile. We had also information about which product was more seen by male or female, which product were more seen by old people or young people. All these elements allowed us to go to the question on the left side. Can I predict sales? So that's the next step that we are working now. Look for a model of predicting the sales according to the profiles that are in the store. So I know these profiles in the store. If I launch a campaign, for example, of perfume, that will be the campaign that will give me the most sales or the most margin in the sale, because sometimes it's not about selling dollars, it's about selling products that for some reason create me a better margin. So this information, or this gathering of information, analysis and understanding is leading us to be able to influence. Because of our technology, this information that delivered by Quividi and another sensor that we have in the screen can be put in real time into the screen. So if a flight is leaving to a country, we can change the planning that is there. So the last question, and I'm finishing with that, and I leave some time for questions. How can I relate gender or age attention to screen with sales? We saw, as I said, that depending on the age and on the destination, the products were slightly different, and the value of this product was also different. There's some, by the way, some elements that we say as joke, that certain nationalities do certain kind of sales, where the solution, I won't give away this data, but the solution stressed some of these things that we finally say, and some others were surprisingly different. Obviously, in a plane to a certain country, not all the people is of these countries for obvious reasons. So that was my presentation. I tried to be quick. I don't know if you're on time.
No, perfect, absolutely perfect. And we got time just for one question. Actually, I'm going to sneak in one of my own as well. So there's two. I got that special power. So obviously, you're part of Telefonica. I'm guessing you have access to a lot of mobile phone data. So presumably, you blend that in with the data that we're providing.
Well, in this case, we do have such services in the countries that we are present, and we have a telco operator. This is a service that we haven't used specifically for this testing. But indeed, we have a commercial service with fully anonymized data where we can know the origin and the movements around specific areas of specific nationalities, or if there are customers, maybe some extra data of profiles. In this case, due to the so many changes that they have there on nationalities, and also of the data, but you know that you deliver your boarding pass also there, and when you have to make a purchase on such stores, they already have a pretty good idea of which are the destination and origins that is around. So in this case, we didn't find as necessary to increase with this data.
Understand. Yes, I guess it's a very controlled audience anyway. It's not random people. They are there for a purpose and going in a direction. Great. Well, you'll be pleased to know that we've only overrun by 10 seconds. So thank you very much, Javier. That's very helpful.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.